Welcome back, everybody. Glad you could make it back by. Well, it has finally came in, and of course, I know you saw the thumbnail, but that's all right. So, some months back, of course, I had pre-ordered a couple of things from Bark River. One of which was the JX5, which you probably saw, and if you didn't, go back and check that video out. But the other thing that I pre-ordered was a Bark River Cub. And I got this to go along with that JX5 because they do have a very similar handle shape and whatnot, because both of which were inspired by Peter Kohler of Dark Timber Knives. And unfortunately, I don't have any of his knives yet, but I will. So here it is. The Bark River Cub. Let you guys get a look at that baby. CPM 3V steel, white G10 handles, mosaic pins, black liners, obviously brass hardware. There's the black liners. In my opinion, a beautiful piece of work from Bark River. Now, honestly though, it's not perfect. It could be better. Bark River does excellent work, but for the price they cost, I would really honestly think that they would do a little bit better work, but is what it is, I guess. It's just, for that kind of money, you would think that they would just literally be perfect, and, they're not. I understand they're handmade and they're gonna have flaws and such, and sometimes those little flaws make the knife just that much better, but at the same time, you can get knives from companies like Tops, and they'll be pretty much perfect, for a lot less money than a Bark River. So anyway, that being said, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. It doesn't change the fact of, I really do enjoy this knife, but there it is next to the JX5. So I think that's quite a nice complementing set there. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments what you think about it. But at any rate, we're still going to talk about the Cub. So it's going to have, let's see here, it's going to have a blade length of 5 1/4 inches, a thickness of right around 3/8, overall length of 10 1/4 inches. And for me, when I'm looking at the pictures, the thing just looked so much bigger. I know I looked at the specs on it, and obviously, I knew how big it was, but everything just seems so much bigger on pictures and videos and all that, when they say, I guess, that photos add a few pounds. Well, I guess they kind of do the same thing, on knives. They just make it look much bigger than it really is. So at first, when I first opened the box, I was kind of, it was smaller than I expected, let's say that. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was definitely smaller than I expected. But then once I put it in my hand, I was just like, oh wow. Now, this knife feels absolutely outstanding. Now, obviously, I haven't used it yet. We'll get to that. But, I mean, it just feels outstanding. So, for a comparison, there's the good old Bravo 1.25, which I'm sure you guys have seen in videos. If not, check that out. But this is one of, the most comfortable knives ever. Not the most comfortable in my opinion, but very comfortable nonetheless. But this Cub, I mean, it just hits all the marks. It really does. So still though, the most comfortable still goes to the White River Ursus 45, and I'll just kind of line some up here as we go along just so you can kind of get a comparison on size. But that Ursus 45 is still by far the most comfortable in my opinion. So that being said, I would say this is my first most comfortable. I would go with this, I believe. Yeah, this one's definitely second. And third, I would have to say, would be the Bravo there. So, next, another good comparison here is the Benchmade 202, which is an amazingly comfortable knife. And of course, it's also 3V, but all these knives here on the table now are all premium steels and whatnot, but you can see it's pretty similar in size there. Obviously not exactly, but pretty darn close. So just as another comparison. And here's one that I'm sure everybody's pretty familiar with. The good old SRK. And actually real recently, I got in the SRKC, so we'll be taking a look at that as well. Slide those down a little bit. And there it is against the good old BK2. So, I mean, the Cub here is not exactly a small knife by any means. It's a great companion-sized blade. And for me, it feels like, it's going to be a great, just all-around knife. Whether it's for bushcrafting or camping or EDC or you name it, it's kind of right there in that middle. Now EDC, it might be just a little big for that, depending on your preferences. I mean, I don't mind to carry something of that size. I mean, I EDC that Bob all the time. I really do like that knife. I would say that it would fall right here as number 4 most comfortable, and I should have brought it out here to show as well, and I sure didn't do it, but I should have. And of course, the Cub there, it's going to come with the standard Bark River sheath. This is actually the sheath for the Bravo, because I don't have the scout straps on this sheath. And I haven't treated it yet, but I mean they're the exact same sheath there. So I just figured I would show the Bravo sheath. But anyway, it does have what appears to be a fairly sharp spine. Nothing as sharp as like say on this White River or the Garberg or other knives that actually have a sharpened spine intended for, ferro rod striking, but doing the fingernail test on the Cub, it seems to, be just as efficient as the others, or at least pretty darn close. So we'll see how it all works out, after we get some usage and whatnot, but I just wanted to share that with you guys and see what y'all thought. So, something kind of funny here. Looking at these up close, or at least closer. Let me make sure I can get in here. Or at least closer. So I had requested that these have the same pins, you know, for the mosaic pins in it. Well, obviously you can see they're not the same, which, you know, I'm not upset about. However, I think it's kind of funny. They should have put the larger pins that they put on the Cub, they should have put those on the JX5 and put this size of pin on the Cub. I think that would have, you know, looked much better in my opinion. Now, of course, this Cub was, you know, designed to pair with the Bark River Grizzly, which, you know, is pretty much unobtainable unless you're willing to pay for it nowadays. It's pretty expensive on the secondary market. I saw a nice example of one go for I think it was like $450 it went for. And you know, obviously, I mean, I don't mind to spend money, good money, on a quality knife, but $450, man, I can get a lot of other knives for that. So maybe at some point, hopefully at some point, I should say, I'll get one. But I don't know, it's probably going to be a minute on that. I just, you know, if it was $100 less than that, yeah, I'd already have it. But I don't know, just that extra $100, it's just, that's a lot, you know, that's a whole lot. Of course, 300 is a whole lot for a knife, you know, but at the same time, you know, that $300 from Bark River, you know, you've got the lifetime warranty. Anything happens to it, doesn't matter what it is, you know, you send it back to them. If they can't fix it, they'll replace it. So, I mean, you're paying for that too. Plus, you're paying, you know, for premium materials. You know, the CPM 3V steel is, you know, not cheap at all. That's a premium steel. I mean, granted, the G10 handles don't probably cost all that much. You know, some of the higher end, you know, natural, like, you know, natural materials and some of the acrylics, you know, they can get up there. I saw one example of that Cub going marked for as much as like $389, I think it was. But you know, it just depends on the materials. And of course, I had pre-ordered this, you know, through DLT. And when you do place a pre-order from them, you know, they send you a $20 gift card, so you get $20 off your next order for pre-ordering, and you got to put 25 down on it. So basically you're only having to put $5 into it, which they deduct that from the price. So, you know, I don't know, kind of putting down a deposit. I can see why they do it though. I've seen a lot of pre-order knives come back up later on for sale, and in fact I actually bought one like that, and that's how I got it. And the best thing I can tell to know if it's a pre-order or not is they will have that blue dot on the box. So if it has that blue dot, when you get it, even if you just order it, you know, from the website, you know, not pre-ordered, if it's got that blue dot on it, chances are somebody pre-ordered it, but then they didn't pick it up, so they put it out for sale. So, but anyway, guys, I guess that's going to be the end of the first out-of-box experience on the Bark River Cub. Excellent knife. Highly recommend it. And I do believe, don't hold me to it, I do believe, though, that this is the final run of them. And they do have a lot left on the website, on DLT. I did not check knives ship free, but I'm pretty sure there's probably some there too. So Anyways, guys, glad y'all spent some time with me and checked that out. So we got some more videos coming of some neat stuff, and hopefully you guys will like it. You've been watching Alpha Omega Survival Supply. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.